What is going on? Welcome back to Corby Q. My name is Corby, and today, in honor of Chinese New Year, we're going to do a easy pepper steak recipe. Let's get this rolling.
Just don't let it go, 'cause there ain't no getting off till we get
Thanks for stopping in today. Appreciate it. February 16th, 2018 is the Chinese New Year. And my son Kevin, from my first marriage, is half Chinese. And in honor of my son Kevin and Chinese New Year, thought I'd do an easy Chinese pepper steak recipe. I got about little over 2 pounds of petite steak roast, petite roast, that I'm going to cut up. I just want to get this apron on. Just 'cause. And I have the roast sitting in the freezer so I can get a little firm and, easier to cut. Let me go ahead and get this out. Glove up. So this is about a little over 2 pounds of petite steak. Petite roast. If you can see this, I don't know, but the grain is running this way. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut it against the grain. We're going to go ahead and take this. We're going to slice it. Oh, I don't know. As thin as we can get it, possibly. Then we're going to marinate it. Let's go ahead and start getting this cut up. Now this petite roast is kind of lean. It did have a little bit of fat that I trimmed off. It's got a little bit of fat in the middle, but that should be okay. Let me go ahead and get this cut up, and then I'll show you the marinade. Just getting the last of this cut up into strips. I did go ahead and I cut it against the grain, and then I cut each of those pieces in half. Now let's get on to this marinade. We're going to let this sit in. 4 tablespoons soy sauce. Meat in the bowl. It's a little over 2 pounds. It's like 2 1/4. Four tablespoons of cooking wine. Usually you use rice wine, but I don't have rice wine, so I'm using some white cooking wine. 4 teaspoons of cornstarch. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. What this is going to do, this is kind of a secret thing. It helps break down the meat, the tougher cuts, and make it a little more tender. So we're going to go ahead that in, and we're going to put in some pepper. It's about a teaspoon of pepper. Go ahead and give this a mix with a hand. Now this is all nice, mixed up, incorporated. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. Let it marinate for about a half hour before we move over to the pan. While that is sitting in the refrigerator, sleeping a little bit, let's go ahead and move over and make the sauce. I did end up taking off the apron. We're going to make the sauce for the pepper steak. Got about a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. About a 1/2 cup of beef broth. 4 teaspoons of sugar. 4 teaspoons of cornstarch. Should have kept the apron on. About 2 teaspoons of black pepper. Go ahead and give this a whisk and stir and combine until that sugar is completely dissolved. Well, let's go ahead over and get to the stove and get this pan heated up and get this steak cooking. Pan is on nice and hot. You get about a tablespoon of vegetable oil, maybe. maybe a tablespoon. Let that get nice and hot. Got my my flat bottom wok pan heated up pretty hot. Let that go about 10 seconds, and then I'm going to add the meat that has been marinating in the refrigerator. I'm going to let that sit on the heat real quick and let it cook up before we flip it. I'm going to take this meat off, transfer it to another pan for right now. Add a couple more tablespoons of vegetable oil. I got 2 green peppers and a red bell pepper that I chopped into chunks. I'll throw that in there. 2 medium white onions. And keep those moving. Actually, I'm going to switch utensils to my wooden spoon. Just want to move these around, keep moving, and cook the onions until they're translucent. Right about there is where I like my veggies. I want them to still have a little bit of crunch to them. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add the beef back into this. I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of garlic, about a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and I am going to add the sauce. Now, depending on how you like your sauce, you can let it cook and boil. It will thicken up as it cooks. If you like it a little thinner, you can add some water, some more beef broth. I'm going to see how this looks right now as I mix it up. Now, I have a large portion here because I'm feeding the family of 4 tonight. I'll have the recipe down in the description. You can go ahead and change the quantities as needed. I'm going to go ahead and let that cook. As you can see, it's starting to thick up real nice by the heat. Go ahead and give this a couple more minutes, and then we will pull this off, and we will plate it up, and we will serve. And here's the final product. I whipped up some white rice on the stove. Really simple. 1 part rice, 2 parts water. Boil it for a minute. Put it on simmer for about 18 minutes. Pull it off. Rice is done. I'm going to plate the rice up right here. Nice and fluffy white rice. Top it with our pepper steak. Sauce turned out nice and thick. Some of those peppers on there, some of that onions. That looks good. That looks good enough to eat. Which I think I will do. Let me come around and give you a peep. Here we go. Here's how it looks. Looks pretty good. Let's give it a taste. Ooh, that's hot. Vegetables are still not super, they're not crunchy, but they're not soft. They're right in between. And that baking soda really helped break down that meat. You guys want to give it a try? My son Trey is going to come in and give it a whirl. It's hot. Ooh, the pepper's kicking in. Blowing it. It's hot. That's good. This is in honor of Chinese New Year and in honor of my son Kevin. So you guys, whatever you're doing, if you're grilling it, baking it, cooking it, frying it, smoking it, keep doing what you do. Take care. Happy Chinese New Year.